Hey Eternity End fans, and welcome to this lesson and this tutorial about one of the harmonies instrumental section of our newest single Arcturus Prime. And in this video we are going to explain a little bit what we are playing here, the approach of Christian, how he composed this kind of crazy guitar stuff. And yeah, Christian. So I would say let's start and let's play this thing first slow. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, first of all, our guitars are tuned in D standard, so everything you will hear is one step below your normal tuned guitar, but we are speaking like this would be a normal tuned guitar. So when I'm talking about the E string, I mean the E string, but what you're hearing is of course one step below. Alright Christian, let's talk first about the chord progression, I would say, that you came up with.
Yes, so this chord progression is a baroque sounding chord progression, and it uses a composition technique that you find typically in a lot of compositions by Johann Sebastian Bach, where he would go between different minor keys, and he's basically modulating into the different minor keys from the previous chord through a diminished chord, which is close tonally to the previous chord, but which is dominant to the following chord. So a symmetrical diminished chord, like for example, if your symmetrical diminished chord consists of the notes E, G, B flat and C sharp, you could modulate from there to any minor key that's a half step above any of the notes of the chord. So this chord could resolve to F minor, A flat minor, B minor and D minor. Exactly. So that's basically what we're doing here. The whole thing starts off with the chord C minor. From here we go to a diminished chord, which is going to be C sharp diminished. So the note G would stay the same, E flat goes up a half step to E, the C goes up a half step to C sharp. And this chord can now be dominant to 4 different minor keys, as we explained previously. So in this case we were solving it to A flat minor. So our chord progression is C minor, C sharp diminished, A flat minor. From here we use the same concept. We're following the A flat minor chord with A diminished, which is then in this case dominant to E minor. Now we're following the E minor with an E major chord, which is going to be a secondary dominant to the A minor chord, which is the 4th degree of the key of E minor. And from here we do the same and transform the A minor into an A diminished, which then is dominant back to the original key of E minor. So over the first chord, which is C minor, we start out by playing a C minor triad, followed by a descending C harmonic minor scale.
So now I'm going to show you a little bit how Christian harmonized this section and how I'm going to play it and what we were thinking by harmonizing this, so you can understand how you can harmonize sections for your own. So, and the first rule that we have here is that when we are outlining arpeggios, outlining chords, I play the next inversion from the inversion that Christian is playing. So for example, Christian is playing in his guitar this C minor arpeggio. Christian's arpeggio is starting here on the G, the 5th of C, and I'm starting on the C, the next chord tone of C minor. So this is the basic first rule by harmonizing guitars. When you're playing an arpeggio, you can harmonize it through the inversions. And then I'm going down the C harmonic minor scale as well. And when we are playing scales, we have the second rule now, which is that we are harmonizing it in thirds. So when Christian is starting on E flat, for example, I start a third in the scale of C harmonic minor above. So in this case, the G. And these are the two basic rules for harmonizing. So let's get through the rest of this section by switching between me and Christian. Christian is showing you what he's playing, and then I'm showing you what I'm playing.
Over the next chord, which is going to be C sharp diminished, we play a C sharp diminished arpeggio, followed by a pedal note lick based in F harmonic minor.
So now I'm playing C sharp diminished, and the beautiful thing about diminished chords is that they are symmetrical. So the finger shape can be the same, but everything 3 frets higher. So the inversion itself starts on a different note, but the finger shape stays the same. So at first, again, we are playing the diminished chord. And then again another scale with this pedal note line here. And even when we are playing pedal note ideas and sequences, I'm still a third above the pedal note sequence that Christian is playing. So here rule number 2 is still the rule to go. Alright, for the technical kind of point of view, I'm playing everything with alternate picking.
The C sharp diminished chord now resolves to A flat minor. Here you play an A flat minor triad, followed by a pedal note lick in A flat harmonic minor. And the pattern we play goes like this.
The next section is again the first an arpeggio section, and then we're playing another pedal note sequence, and starting off first with A flat minor. Sorry. And here are two things which can be a bit tricky, but everything is playable with a lot of time of practice. And the first one is we're starting with inside picking. So because when I'm starting here on the 12th fret of the B string, the B, and then we're going to the A flat, this is inside picking. And up to tempo this can be a little bit difficult, a little bit tricky, but as I've said, when you practice it long enough, you get used to it and then it's playable. The next tricky thing is the jump from the E flat to the A flat on the E string. So we have a horizontal jump, which is pretty far away. And those kinds of things which are really tricky, I've practiced it by really focusing on those two notes, only that jump, and trying to get that one up to tempo.
The next chord is going to be a C diminished, which is going to be a substitute for B7, which is dominant to E minor. So here we start out by playing a C diminished arpeggio, followed by a descending E harmonic minor scale.
So in the next section is the A diminished again, and here I play this ascending arpeggio, and this one I sweep. So not alternate picking anymore, but this time going with a sweep. After that we are playing a descending scale in E harmonic minor. And then we're resolving that to E minor.
Now the C diminished resolves to E minor. Here we start out by playing an E minor triad, followed by a descending E harmonic minor scale.
On the E minor I play this arpeggio, And we know this shape and this arpeggio before because this is the arpeggio and this shape that we have started the whole section with. You remember the C minor? Now only transfer it to E minor. The same goes for the descending harmonic minor run after that.
Next up is the E major chord, which is a secondary dominant to A minor, the 4th degree in the key of E minor. And here we start out by playing an E major triad, followed by a descending E Phrygian dominant or A harmonic minor scale.
Now we're taking the same shape, but like Christian have said it before, in major. So we have this beautiful E major sound here. But it's not a cheesy major sound, it's a cool major sound because we are playing it in Phrygian dominant or A harmonic minor.
Next up is the A minor chord. Here we play an A minor triad, followed by a descending A harmonic minor scale, which we play in a pedal note version.
And in the end we have an A minor arpeggio. This time with a string skipping in between it. We're skipping from the G to the E string. Then we're sliding up to the E, and here again we're playing a pedal note lick.
The section ends with an A diminished chord, which is dominant back to the original key of the song of E minor. And here we just play a sequenced version of a A or C diminished arpeggio.
Yes, and the last line, like Christian said it before, is a diminished chord. Again, A diminished. And then we resolve back into E minor because the diminished chord is used as a substitute for B minor, for B dominant, sorry, and creating a B dominant flat 9 sound. And here I again do a cool mix between sweeping. I first sweep this arpeggio, and then I include some hammer on and some pull-offs. To get a little bit more kind of articulation and stuff like that. Remember, from the technical point of view, there's always a different way how you can play those same notes. For example, I like to play maybe something alternate picking, which Christian, for example, is sweeping and stuff like that. And it's totally fine to create your own technique or your own approach on how you play some lines. But for the harmonization, keep in mind they have those two rules. When we are playing arpeggios, you can play the next inversion, or you can play the inversion above that, but I think it's important to play the inversion so you have the same sound from the arpeggio. And when you are playing scales, so when we are playing scales in this section here, we are harmonizing it through the third above the root note. Alright. So we hope you enjoyed this lesson about this neoclassical baroque part of Arcturus Prime, the newest single from Eternity's End. See you in the next lesson or the future lesson, and check out our newest single, and I would say goodbye.